afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are students from class A2.9 of Institute of Foreign Languages, majoring in Department of English, and we are from Group 2 of subject LS202. And it is a very delightful moment for us to present you about the summarized chapters of the story, Village by the Sea by Anita Desai. Today we'll be talking about a bunch of things, such as the summary of the chapter 7 and 8, the analysis of the main messages of the chapter, and the analysis of the connection between the study text and real life. And here are our members. We have 4 beautiful members. We have Mengheang, that's me, and we have Seavhong, and then we have Marapin, and our last member is Outh Ratha. And here is our summarizing regarding the story Village by the Sea, chapter 7 and 8. So without any further delay, let us jump into our most fun part of the video.
Harry wanders around the black horse, not sure where else to go because he knows no one in this big city. The more he walks, the more exhausted and parched he is. Then he sees a coconut seller and wants to buy the coconut as he couldn't stand his thirst any longer. Harry decides to open up about the tragic situation in Thule to the coconut seller. But sadly, the coconut man told Harry that there is no use in asking for solution from the government. Because of the foreign scene in front of his eyes, he couldn't help but feel a wave of homesickness. He emerges from the side road onto a beautiful seaside boulevard. Harry remembers that there was once when Mr. De Silva promised him a job if Harry ever come to Bombay. And the piece of paper that contained the information about Mr. De Silva's address is still with him. No one to ask, Harry decides to ask a shaved ice seller about the address. The man looked at Harry in a ridiculous way, but eventually still directs him to the right direction. It is evening and the sun is setting, but it's not really dark because of all the light from the building. The building that the De Silva live in is called Seabird, and Harry is surprised to find it very crowded. Unfortunately, by the time Harry arrived at the De Silva house, they are already gone to Thule for their summer vacation, so he did not get any job. Harry takes the elevator back down to the lobby. When the door watchman sees Harry, he tells Harry that he can take Harry to a friend of his who can give Harry a meal and perhaps a place to stay for the night. Harry feels grateful for his kindness. The door watchman's friend's name is Jagu, and Jagu agrees to give Harry a cheap meal and a place to sleep. Jagu is dressed in dirty clothes and works at a cheap restaurant. He barely gives Harry a second look as he ladles out bowls of lentils to his customers. Exhausted, Harry eats and falls asleep at once on a hot bunch. Eating house is always busy because of the people who need cheap foods. They come every day, so that's why Jagu and his staff barely have time to rest. Jagu tells Harry that he can work along with the other 2 boys who he has employed in exchange of meals and 1 rupee a day. Harry works very hard along with the other boys, but sadly they cannot communicate with each other because of the language barrier. Next to the eating house, there was a shop called Ding Dong Watchworks. The owner of the shop is a friendly old man who looks like Sayyid Ali. This makes Harry feels like he has met another man who he can trust. The man tells Harry about Jagu, that even though he is a silent man, but he is a good man who helped take in the orphans under his roof. This story makes Harry feel really uncomfortable because he does not want to be seen as just another one of Jack's orphans. After all, his parents are still alive. Thinking about his family, Harry asks where he can buy a postcard. Then the old man lent Harry some money for him to buy a card to deliver to his family in Thule. In the letter, Harry tells his family that he has a job and he will be bringing them his earning. Back in Thule, as usual, Leela helps clean the De Silva house, swiping away sand and spiderwebs. After the De Silva come back from Bombay, Mr. De Silva asks the cook about a grocery list, so he can buy it when he arrives Alibaba. Upon hearing this, Leela darts out and begs Mr. De Silva to bring her mother to the Alibaba hospital, since he will be going there anyways. Mrs. De Silva overheard and asked why Leela had not asked earlier. Perhaps she could have brought medicine to help. Leela is grateful and explains how their mother is ill and getting more ill and weaker every day. Leela would be excited if she had not been worried. Her mother stretches on the back seat of the car and looks so weak that Leela is concerned she might die before they reach the hospital. Leela is so busy holding her mother's head that she has no time to look out the window. When they reach the hospital, Leela has no idea what to do, but luckily Mr. De Silva does, telling them to wait while he gets a nurse and a stretcher. Two men come and lift Leela's mother onto it, and Leela runs after them with a little bundle of her mother's belongings. Mr. De Silva goes to speak to the doctor. One of the nurses sees Leela's face and rest assures her that her mother will be alright, as the hospital has excellent doctors. The doctors say that the mother should stay at the hospital because she is emaciated. Leela doesn't argue, but weeps in the car all the way back home. That night, Leela's father asks where his wife is. Leela can meet his eye when she tells him that she has taken her mother to the hospital in Alibaba. Leela's father gets angry, demanding why Leela did not ask him, and she tells him that he had been asleep. Leela's father is furious and demands Leela to cook food right then and there so he can bring it to her mother. After gathering up all the small amount of food in the house into a bundle, Leela gave it to her father, who begins to storm into the night. When Leela goes back to the hospital to see her mother again, she was frightened to see her father at the ward. On the way back home, the doctors gave reports to Mr. De Silva, and he explained them to Leela that her mother has been suffering from severe anemia and a slight case of tuberculosis, and her father will be staying at the hospital to look after her mother. Because Leela looks so worried, that's why Mr. De Silva assured her that he will give her extra money and promise her a job after he go back to Bombay. He says that a friend of his from Bombay will come to live at Marapin for a few months. Upon hearing this, Leela is shocked and happy. As she arrives home, Bella and Carmel rush toward her with Harry's postcard in their hand.
And that's the end of our summary. And I would like to give the floor to our next presenters.
Okay, now let's move on to my part that I will present about the analysis of the main messages of the chapter. And for this part, it will be presented by Seavhong and I. And to begin this part, I would like to introduce you guys that I am going to cover with the three main themes, which are about the responsibility, admission, and kindness. And of course, because of this part is related to the psychoanalytic criticism theory, that is why I would like to let you guys know that what is psychoanalytic criticism first. Psychoanalytic criticism is a type of criticism that uses theory of psychology to analyze literature. It focuses on the author or character's state of mind. And for the physiology theory itself, it is the factor that used to drive character behavior by desire, need, fear, and value. And now, without further delay, let's go to the first theme together. For the first theme, which is about the responsibility, and I would refer to Lila and Harry. For Lila, as what you have seen in the story, that Lila family could be judged as the poor and lack of warm family because of having a drunken father who was always added to the shop and never paid attention to the family. And being the older sister in the family, Lila had to fit every responsibility in her hand. She had to drop out from school and turn to take care of her sick mother who lay on the bed and could not even standing up, and as well as her two younger sisters, Bella and Gamal. And to supply the whole family need, Lila had to do almost everything in the household, like cooking and boiling water for her mother. And however, as an only girl that had such a big burden in hand, Lila could not hold up everything without any financial supporting. And moreover, in that situation, her mother began to get into more serious condition that made Lila had to set off more responsibility than usual of taking her mother to the hospital at Alibar. Even she know that she could not afford the price of the medical, and especially without Harry nearby. But Lila, she had to find way to take her mother to the hospital at least. And luckily, she met Mr. Desai, the one who Lila could release her burden and also give her a job to support her family. And as well as Harry, as the only boy beside his father in the family, even though he was still a teenager, he also had a responsibility to look after his sister and find them a bright future. That was why Harry also had to live schooling life like Lila and work in the field to get some money to support his family. And besides working in the field, Harry also tried to think of having a stable job, whether in the biju board or at the factory. Until the day he has been to Bombay in order to seek for a job to get money for supporting his family. Yes, and according to the psychoanalytic criticism, we should ask ourselves the question that why did they do so and what drive them to do this? Yeah, and now I would talk about the desire. For Harry, I would say that because he had a strong division of his desire to get a stable job and to have a better life. That's why he managed that he must reach Bombay anyway to earn and improve his life as well as what he raised for so long. And for Lila, because of she desperately loved her mother and wanted her to get better from her sickness. That is why she had a strong commitment to find ways to get her mother being cured anyway. And that was why it it influenced Lila to complain her issue to Mr. Del Silva for help. And now let's move to the second theme, which is about the admission. And for this theme, I would refer to Harry's father. Then, since the beginning of the story, Harry's father is a person who had a strong inclination to alcoholic drink that made him first disappointing, angry drunk who could not provide anything for his family and was quick to criticize his children, but he never watched out about his mistake that he was like an erratic and uptight husband and father toward his family. And however, a day after he arrived home, he realized that his wife was at the hospital at Alibaba, and at that time he began to feel accountable and started to concern about his wife's condition. by ordering Lila to cook, and he could bring food and look after his wife at the hospital. And he may give up drinking today and turn back to a breadwinner for his family. And now let's consider what drives him to do this, and what does, like, why does he do this? Yes, based on the psychoanalytic criticism, I can assume that Harry's father may have feel guilty that he always pretend to neglect it to his family and only thought about his happiness. And moreover, he may have visions of other children who have a father his like like his children, but their fortune were not like his children. That could be the reason why he began to rectify himself for his family. And after he changed, I can draw the result that he made his children like Lila to feel surprised and excited that she could not smell his father of today, as she might have a new potentiality to think about her future like other girl in Tool did.
Now let's move on the next theme of kindness. Firstly, when Harry went to Bombay, he was really young and lonely, and he confusing and wandering in the city. He didn't know who he could depend on. Moreover, until a day, he did climb to find Miss Desa's house, but seeing a man who was introduced to Jago, who provide him food and shelter and also offer him job and salary. As well as Miss Desai, he is very kindness and bountiful man who had compassion toward Harry's family. Especially, he gave to pet for the mother medical treatment ill. More than that, he also offered Lila a job at his house, and he gave some money to her father to buy food her mother. According to the psychoanalytic criticism, do you think uh, why why the Miss Deseva and Jago do like this? Because they have beautiful or natural kindness inside that motivate them to be a person who wanted to help another people. And I think they used to be poor before, so they understand everything. And when they rich, they just help or share with another people that poor situation. And especially whatever they did, they just did in from their mind uh, looking uh, without looking compensation back. Now that is all in our part. I would like to give floor to Marapin for next part. Thank you.
In the chapter 7, the most important point that needs to be raised is about the government. Indian government during the story timeline does not do a great job for their country citizens. We can see Harry explaining his village situation to the coconut man. The coconut man then told Harry that the government have only a mouth, not an eye or ears, only a mouth that it is with fasting on tax, the poor and land is sad. A similar occasion have also happened in our country, Cambodia, and the French Indochina during the 1863 to 1953. Begin with the background information first. In the 19th century, Cambodia was under the threat from the Siem, aka Thailand nowadays, and the Vietnamese, making the kingdom extremely weak. So what does it have to do with the friend? Due to the threat from neighboring country, King Rodolph, the country king at the time, requested protection from France, which was later known as a Treaty 1863. Unfortunately, under the protection of the French, King Rodolph held so little power. The French began to talk more like colonizing rather than protecting. Their military power was deployed all over Cambodia. They started to take advantage of the rich natural resources of the kingdom and implemented heavy tax on the country citizens. Everything they own have a tax on it. If any of the citizens refused to pay their tax, the French would threaten to tax the land, calf, a buffalo, or even use violence on them. Kansas, the Indian French government shows similarity in using powers to abuse the weak. The Indian government has not talked for problem and developed solutions to solve them yet. They turn a blind eye on the poor and take advantage of them. On to the second point of the part is about kindness. In the end of chapter 7 and chapter 8, we can see that Harry was turned down from the job he was offered. The bad boy treated him so badly. Everything started to talk very bad from the Harry until he met Jagu. Jagu took Harry into the kitchen when Harry had nowhere to go. He also took its two boys before Harry because they had no place to stay. So before go deeper into this, I would like to show you a 2-minute video.
Sometimes it's easy to feel like the world's getting harder. But if we look closer, on the news, on the web, on the street, we're anything but unkind. Every day, we hear new stories of people trying to make the world a better place. And together, we can make the world that little bit kinder for all of us. It all starts with just one person, you. The thing about kindness is that it's just about the only thing in the world that doubles when you share it. And it's a fact, backed by science. Studies have shown that if you perform just one random act of kindness a day, you'll not only reduce your stress, anxiety, and depression, but your body is flooded with the same hormones that make you and the person you've helped calmer, healthier, and happier. Serotonin, which heals your wounds, helps you relax and makes you feel good. Endorphins, which reduce pain. And oxytocin, which reduces blood pressure and makes you feel more loving and loved. You'll both be more energized, feel less aches and pains, more confident, and could even live longer. And if other people see you helping someone else, they'll be filled with those same feel-good hormones, meaning they're significantly more likely to pay it forward. Like taking that extra moment to hold the elevator for someone, spotting a coffee for a stranger who's just a few cents short, giving your neighbor a hand with their groceries, even just smiling and meaning it. It doesn't take much, but it can make a huge difference for everyone. Those people you've helped will help other people, and those other people will help even more people. And those random acts of kindness can start a chain reaction that can spread across an entire community, a city, a country, and with enough of us, the world. Now, isn't that the world we all want? And it all starts with one.
Reading our story and watching this video, we can see that there are relations between the story and real life situation.
Even the darkest time, there is still light. Kindness can be found anywhere, in any situation. Imagine if Harry and the two boys were not helped by Jagu, they would be living a very difficult life. We do not know what people are going through. So be kind to another. A random act of kindness can start a chain reaction that can be spread across a community, society, and eventually a country. It all starts with a random act of kindness.